Okay, I'm Casey, and I'm here to see the negative side of the lowering the drinking age. So we would like to keep the policy at 21. We think that this is better for the community because, as my opponent said, he said that lowering the drinking age would actually decrease the number of binge drinking, when in reality, lowering the drinking age would actually increase the number of binge drinking. The MDLA law states that the laws reduce the number of underage drinkers. James Hugh found an examination of criticism of minimum legal drinking age at 21. He says the percentage of underage drinkers has decreased since the law went into act in 1984. And also, according to researchers, the study shows that people who lived in states with a lower minimum drinking age didn't drink more alcohol overall, but they did drink it more heavily. So they were prone to drink it more heavily, and that the attitudes were not to drink it often, but to drink on occasion and to drink it more heavily. Lowering the drinking age would also increase the alcohol consumption. According to Janice Wood, lowering the drinking age linked to more binge drinking. She said that the researchers found that even decades later, men who grew up in the states with legal drinking age lower than 21% more are likely to binge drink more than once a month. Among those who didn't go to college, the audits increased by 31%. The current policy actually reduces the number of alcohol consumption. According to Caleb Daniloff with drinking age versus 21, when drinking age was lowered, we did not get less infantile behavior, but we actually got more. It's kind of a basic axiom that if you make more alcohol more readily accessible, people will drink more, and the certain percentage of them will drink to excess in a greater percentage. What we also need to take into consideration is binge drinking. It is a lot of the attitude of the people that you're around, and that most of the attitude when you come to drinking is you have to drink heavily and you have to drink it more often. Lowering the drinking age, I found in New Zealand, a study in New Zealand, binge drinking nature, prevalence, and causes. In New Zealand, lowering the legal drinking age from 20 to 18 is reported to have resulted in a sharp increase in binge drinking among teenagers and young adults. There is evidence from various countries that early initiation of drinking, for example, beginning to drink in early to late adolescence rather than in late adolescence and early adulthood, it increases your likelihood of binge drinking and that actually touches on his comment of saying that in countries they actually don't drink as much and they have a better attitudes and a better not laws, but they don't drink as much and they're under supervision. My opponent also claims that you have the right to choose to drink. As a teen, your brain is still not defined as mature. According to a lower age would be unsafe in the U.S. News World Report. A person's brain does not stop developing until their early to mid-20s, and during this period, the alcohol negatively affects all parts of the brain, including cognitive and decision-making abilities, as well as coordination and memory. We also need to take in consideration that allowing a drinking age to be lowered at 18 actually causes an increased chance of alcohol dependency. So, and him saying that it's a right, we need to take into account that maybe some of these teens just don't have their mental and maturity is not well enough there, and it can actually lead to a likelihood of alcohol addiction, as we saw in the New Zealand study. According to the U.S. Federal Trade Commission, dangers of teen drinking, the age when drinking starts affects future drinking problems. For each year that they start drinking is delayed, the risk of later alcohol dependency is reduced by 14%. He also said that, my opponent also said that if you lower the drinking age, traffic accidents and deaths in many other countries is actually lower. From what I've found, from what research shows, lowering the drinking age in other countries has increased the number of traffic accidents and fatalities. The study, lowering the drinking age increases car crashes among the youth. Lowering the drinking age has actually caused a dramatic increase in alcohol-related car crashes among young people, according to the new study in New Zealand, where government dropped the drinking age to 18 6 years ago, and this evidence actually showed that among the authors estimated that 400 serious injuries and 12 deaths a year among 15 and 19-year-olds could have been avoided if New Zealand had actually kept their drinking age at the age of 20. We also have to take into consideration when we're talking about other countries is that other countries have different driving ages and different rules. They usually have stricter rules when it comes to driving. According to driving Ray Massey, driving age rising to 18 with a tough new test designed to slash road carnage. This was done in the UK. Learners will still be granted their provision license at 17, but will need to pass a beefed up test. This means that the young drivers actually need to gain 500 hours worth of driving time before they can actually get their license. And if going through all these 500 hours, you actually learn better, and it is less likely that they are to drive. And they also said that in Keith Richburg, European laws place emphasis on driving, not the drinking. While most European countries issues driver's license at age 18, the difficulty of passing the test, high insurance costs, and wide use of trains and buses all mean that younger people generally begin to drive much later than in the United States. So we can't even begin to consider the other countries because of their different driving habits and all of the different tests and whatnot. Because just because that they start drinking at a lower age does not mean that that it actually lowers the fatality rates.